It only took 3 hours of Marlon Brando's quiet, commanding presence, the haunting swell of Nino Rota's legendary score, and the atmospheric shadows of a cinematic masterpiece, to finally realize what I have known since I was a small child. Some clothes don't just cover your body. They completely transform your entire identity and the way the world perceives you. After we sat through The Godfather together in our dimly lit room, he didn't just walk away having seen a great movie. He walked away having seen a version of himself he hadn't yet met, a version that carries weight, authority, and a touch of that old-world gravity. Ever since that night, his entire world has revolved around the silhouette, the structural weight, and the undeniable, classic aura of the trench coat. I call it seeing the light. And honestly, I'm just happy he's finally joined the club, because I have been a devoted believer in the power of a professional silhouette for as long as I can remember, even back when I was too young to fully understand why. While most of our peers head to 8 o'clock in the morning lectures wearing baggy, mismatched sweatpants or wrinkled hoodies that look like they were picked up off the floor, I am almost always that guy in the crisp, ironed shirt and a perfectly knotted tie. I might throw on a quarter zip if the morning air is particularly biting, but the goal is always the same. Looking mature makes me feel mature, and it sets a tone for my entire day before I've even said a word. At the very center of that identity are my 2 trench coats, which have become more like trusted companions than simple garments over the years. The first is a cherished, high-quality gift from my mother that fits with a certain sentimental weight and a cut that screams timeless elegance. The second was a practical, last-minute order I made from Alibaba a few years ago during a trip where I realized, much to my horror, that I had left my primary coat behind and was facing a freezing climate unprotected. Both of these coats have come in incredibly handy during the brutal, bone-chilling peaks of winter, especially on those pitch-black mornings when the frost is still thick on the ground and I have to trek across a silent campus to reach an early class while the rest of the world is still asleep. They are my armor against the freezing wind and the finishing touch that provides that tinge of mystery I love so much, the kind of mystery that makes you look like you're on a mission, regardless of what else you might be wearing underneath. Naturally, seeing my roommate's new obsession and his sudden appreciation for the done aesthetic, my first instinct was to pass the torch and simply give him one of mine to get him started. However, we quickly ran into a significant physical reality that we simply couldn't ignore no matter how much we wanted to. I stand at a solid, towering 6'4", while he is a more modest 5'8" or 5'9". When I finally draped one of my coats over his shoulders as a test, the result wasn't the cinematic transformation we were hoping for. Instead of looking like a member of the Corleone family or a sharp-witted executive, he looked like a small child lost in a Victorian wedding dress. My coats, designed for a much larger frame, draped past his feet and completely swallowed his shoulders, ruining the very sharp, mature aesthetic we were trying to achieve and turning a moment of cool into a moment of unintentional comedy. Because of this, we've spent a lot of time recently looking out for something that actually fits his specific proportions, something that gives him the height and the presence he's looking for without overwhelming him. However, as any college student knows all too well, getting a proper, durable trench coat that isn't just a piece of flimsy fast fashion can leave a massive, painful hole in your pocket unless you plan for it with military precision. A real coat one with the right fabric density, the right stitching, the classic belt, and the ability to survive more than one harsh season is not just a purchase. It is an investment in a future version of yourself. That is why I have made the firm decision to start saving every spare cent I can find towards a high-quality coat that I can surprise him with for his birthday this coming February. February is often the coldest, most miserable month of the school year, a time when the novelty of winter has worn off and the freezing rain starts to feel personal. And I can't think of a better time for him to finally have his own armor to face the world. Making this happen will mean cutting costs on a lot of other things. It means skipping the extra coffees, saying no to fewer meals out with the guys, being much more disciplined with my own daily spending, and making those small, quiet sacrifices that most people might not understand or even notice. But to me, it is a sacrifice that is entirely worth making, because there is a deeper, more important lesson here about the nature of friendship and the value of how we present ourselves to the world. Seeing a friend find a new spark of confidence and helping them step into that role is a reward that money can't really buy. I want him to experience that exact same feeling I get every single morning when I pop the collar against the wind and step into the cold. The feeling that I am focused, ready, and prepared for whatever the day throws at me, whether it's a difficult exam, a stressful presentation, or a future professional challenge. By the time his birthday rolls around in the heart of winter, he won't just be my roommate in a nice jacket. He'll be a man who finally has the outward appearance that matches his internal growth and maturity. The sacrifice I'm making is the invisible thread that makes the gift meaningful, proving that looking the part isn't just about the fabric you wear or the brand on the label, but about the character of the person who stands by you and the effort you put into the things that matter. It's about the discipline of saving, the patience of waiting, and the genuine joy of seeing someone you care about finally see the light and find their own sense of mystery and strength in a world that so often settles for the mundane and the ordinary. We're not just buying a coat, we're building a legacy of looking sharp, one saved dollar at a time, ensuring that when he walks down those campus halls, he feels every bit as commanding as the characters that first inspired him. In a world of fast fashion, where everything is cheap, disposable, and temporary, choosing to save months for one high-quality item, whether it's a coat, a book, or a tool for your trade, teaches you the discipline of delayed gratification. As students, we are often tempted by the easy, but maturity ability to say, not yet, so that you can eventually say, this will last a lifetime. This trench caving for is a metaphor for life. It represents the idea that building a solid foundation, layer by layer, is better than settling for something that looks good for a week but falls apart when the first storm hits. True maturity is realizing that your armor isn't just what you wear, but the discipline you cultivated to earn it. And finally, the greatest lesson is that of investment in others. When you see someone you care about inspired by something like my roommate was by The Godfather, don't just stand by. If you have the means to help them, see the light and step into a better version of themselves. The world has enough people trying to bring others down to their level. Be the person who helps your friend rise to the level they aspire to reach. Because at the end of the day, a coat is just fabric, but the confidence you give a friend and the discipline you teach yourself through sacrifice, that is a legacy that never goes out of style.
This story brings us to a much larger lesson that every young person, especially a student, should carry with them: the lesson of enclothed cognition and the cost of maturity. You see, we often hear the phrase, "Don't judge a book by its cover." But in the real world, the cover is the first thing people read, and more importantly, it's the first thing you see in the mirror. When I choose to wear a shirt and tie to school while others wear pajamas, I'm not just making a fashion statement. I'm signaling to my own brain that today is a day for work, not for lounging. The lesson here is that your environment and your attire dictate your productivity. If you dress like you've already achieved the success you're studying for, your mindset begins to shift to match that reality. But the second part of this lesson is about sacrifice for quality.